Hey guys, it's Brent Sibley, Sibley Dolman, Accident Injury Attorneys, and today I'm going to be doing something that I'm actually pretty excited about. I'm going to go to Google and I'm going to see, I actually already did it. I typed in questions about personal injury cases, and then it comes up in Google and it shows you questions people ask. This is the questions that people ask. So, for example, the first question is, what questions should I ask my personal injury lawyer? How long does a personal injury case take to settle? Do lawyers get paid before medical bills? So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and see what Google gives you as the answers, and I'm going to give you my honest feedback on how good of an answer I think it is. So, here's a good question. How long does a personal injury case take to settle? If you click on it, it says there are some cases which take at least a year from the date of the filing of the complaint to get to settle, and some may take around 6 months, so it's quite unpredictable. However, a personal injury lawsuit can take 2 to 3 years to get settled. That's kind of misleading because it talks about cases in the beginning, but it assumes that from the filing of the complaint, which means filing a lawsuit, but a ton of cases never have to go even into a lawsuit. It's kind of a vague answer, but I guess it does a kind of a good job of saying that it could take from 6 months to a couple years, which is true. Um, Basically doesn't really give you much information. You need to click more, and there is an article for that, but whatever. Okay, this is a good one. How do I ask my lawyer for a settlement? It's a good question, but it's very vague. And then it gives you a 7-step process. It looks like they pulled the article from whatever. It pulled an article and it says, follow these 6 tips. Have a settlement amount in mind. Do not jump at the first offer. Get the adjuster to justify a low offer. Emphasize emotional points in your favor. Wait for a response. Know when to engage an attorney. Put the settlement in writing. Well, this is really confusing because this question assumes that you're asking the lawyer, but then one of the steps is when to go talk to a lawyer. So that's pretty bad. That makes no sense. Some of the stuff in some of those things kind of make sense, but not really. How much is the average personal injury settlement? $3,000 to $75,000. I mean, average, maybe. There's so many cases and most of them are small, but basically reading these, so far what I'm gathering is that reading this information doesn't help you at all. How do I maximize my settlement? Get medical treatment. Duh. I mean, come on. Don't be too eager. Explain why the offer is inadequate. Build your case. Well, that's vague as hell. What does that mean? That's worthless. Let me see if I can find a good answer. Are personal injury settlements taxable? Neither the federal government nor your state can tax you on the settlement or verdict proceeds in most personal injury claims. Federal tax law excludes damages as a result of physical injuries. That actually seems pretty valid. That's what I understand the law to be. Of course, you're supposed to always ask an accountant, though, because I'm not a tax lawyer. How much can you sue for pain and suffering? There is no one right answer. That's a good piece of advice. That's very true. Every case depends. When valuing pain and suffering, a lawyer will sue for 3 to 5 times the amount of your medical bills. Is also actually kind of true. If you were out of pocket $500, you might ask for $1,500, maybe. Are personal injury settlements public record? Typically, they are not. There is a record of, let me see what it says first. Yeah, it says it's not, and that's pretty true. There is, okay, so to clarify, there is a record basically that if you didn't have to file a lawsuit, there's no record of anything in the public record, so that's for sure. If you did file a lawsuit and you went to court and it's on the public registry in the docket, there will be a record there will be like a hint that the case was settled. It'll basically be like a notice to the judge that they filed that says the case was resolved. And that's all that will be in the public record. It won't say how much, who paid what, this party paid this much, this, none of that's going to be there. And in fact, there's a good chance that in some cases the parties just agree that they can just shake hands and walk away. It doesn't necessarily mean that somebody got money. It just means that they agreed the case was over, they don't want to fight anymore, and they want to just tell the judge to dismiss the case is over, it's over. So most of the time there is not a record of the settlement. Is a personal injury settlement considered marital property? If the money is received as deemed compensation for pain and suffering, it will not be considered community property. A personal injury settlement for pain and suffering may be considered community property during a divorce if the funds become commingled. That is actually a pretty decent answer, and that is what I understand the law to be. Again, that's more of a family law issue. It depends where the money is supposed to be going, what it's supposed to be compensating you for, and whether or not if you move the money, if you get the personal injury money from your lawyer and you put it into a family account, immediately it doesn't even matter what the money was from. As far as I understand the law to be, that's now family property, and yeah, it is marital property. So let's do one more. A lot of questions about this. Is the spouse entitled to my money? Do personal injury claims go to court? How likely is a personal injury claim to go to court? Only a very small percentage, 5%, go to court. And only generally where they're very complex. And I saw another question above where it said 95% do not go to trial. Now, watch my video. If you haven't watched my other video about what it means to go to court versus go to trial, they're very, very different things. When you file a lawsuit, you're in litigation and you get a judge that's assigned, but it's not the same thing as going to trial. Filing a lawsuit, you could be in litigation having the lawsuit open for 2 or 3 years, and then you could settle the case the day before the trial. You still went to court, you were still in a lawsuit, you still were in active litigation, but you never actually went to trial. So a lot of people assume that means that it never went to court, but the better word is trial. So you need to be able to be very clear when you talk about, did my case go into litigation, meaning was a lawsuit filed, versus did it go to trial, whereas when you ask a jury to make the determination of the main issues of the case. Going into litigation and going to trial are two completely different things. So anyway, I just wanted to try this out where I answer some questions off the internet. I hope this was helpful. I think that I should do this again, but maybe I'll answer some better questions next time. So anyway, Brent Sibley, Sibley Dolman, Accident Injury Attorneys, and see you on the next video, guys. Thanks.